Shank Rock is the wave of the future. Let's talk about some of these beefs you've been into.
Yeah, that's what I love. That's what I love. Let's get to it.
Now, look, I'm going to save her for last, or should I start off with Gorilla first?
Her? You said her. That's a her to you? Man, that bitch look like a security guard at a music club.
I want to welcome everybody to this demonstration. The real reason why we will never know where Jarvis dumped Naziah Harris' body. Salute to the chat. Salute to the replay gang. Salute to all of my moderators. Salute Chrissy TV. I see you. Life with Jay, Galatians. Salute y'all. Now, everybody is wondering about the situation with Jarvis, the plea deal, as far as why didn't the state of Michigan make Jarvis lead the investigators to Naziah's remains. He did, y'all. Now, in this demonstration, I'm going to chop it up with you all and shed some light on exactly the plea agreement and exactly whether or not Jarvis BS'd the court system. I'm going to first start off by saying Jarvis didn't BS the court system. In fact, Naziah's family, and let me be clear when I say her family, Miss Annette and the twins, they know exactly where the remains. Now, let me just go into the paperwork. Let's go into what's in black and white, because I don't want to go off my opinion. I don't want to go off of my perspective. I'm going to use this demonstration to go off exactly what's in black and white. Now, Judge Nicholas Hathaway sentenced defendant Jarvis Butts to 35 to 60 years for second-degree red rum for the red rum of 13-year-old Naziah Harris. He was also sentenced on 5 other criminal sexual conduct cases, all to be served concurrently in the Michigan Department of Corrections, MDOC. And for those that don't know what concurrent means the sentences will all run together. Some of y'all, was a little confused. Some of y'all thought that, well, maybe he'll have to serve one sentence, and then after he serves that sentence, then he'll start serving the next sentence. That's consecutive. If it was consecutive, if the judge sentenced him consecutive, then of course consecutive means, you serve one sentence, then after you finish with that sentence, you serve the other sentence. So he's going to serve all these sentences that he got together. Now, one of the most important aspects of the plea agreement was giving Naziah's family some semblance of closure. The disclosure of the location of her body was crucial. As a condition of his plea to the second-degree red rum case, Jarvis Butts was required to give a truthful statement regarding the body of Naziah Harris. We are satisfied with the statement he has given, said Prosecutor Kim Worthy. Now, let's look at that. He was to give a true statement, right? What was the true statement? The true statement was regarding the body of Naziah Harris. He stated that he dumped her body in the Rouge River. Many people, to this day, still don't believe that Jarvis was telling the truth. Right? Drop a one. Drop a one if you feel like Jarvis wasn't telling the truth about dumping Naziah's body in the Rouge River. Drop a two if you feel like he was telling the truth. Now, case 25-000218-01-FC, Naziah Harris 13. It says defendant was sentenced to court. Defendant was sentenced to count one of second-degree red rum with a sentence agreement of 35 to 60 years in Michigan, Detroit corrections to run concurrent with his other cases. Counts 2, 3, and 4 were dismissed. He will not be eligible to apply for parole until he has served 35 years in the MDOC. The statement made by the defendant about the location of Naziah's body is not being released. Now, I know a lot of y'all thought that he was sentenced to 135 years. He would have to do 135 years. That's if it was ran consecutive. So it was ran concurrent. So he has to do 35 to 60 years. The 35, once he complete 35 years, then he's eligible for parole. Now, I can only give y'all my opinion. When he go up for parole, when he do the 35 years, will he get parole? I doubt it. But he'll be 70, he'll be in the 70s. I still doubt if any parole board will grant him parole on the first time. I'm sure the victims, the family of the victims, I'm sure they will be at the parole hearing. So it's likely that Jarvis will definitely spend the rest of his life behind bars. Now, this is in black and white. The statement made by the defendant about the location of Naziah's body is not being released. It's not being released to the public. Now, I'm going to just switch lanes just a little bit, but I'll come back to this plea agreement. All right? Now, what is this saying? That the location of Naziah's body is not being released. Well, we already know that they're not talking about where he dumped the body at, because that was already released. They already released that to the public, right? What they're talking about is that Miss Annette, she knows, and she has those remains. And we're going to get into that. Galatians says he's a dead man walking when he gets to the prison. But we're not even sure. He said he put her in the river, hence the source. Well, it's in black and white. It's in black and white that he did confess to dumping her in the Rouge River. So that's correct. He did say that. All right, give me a second, y'all. I see you, TT. At this point, Shank, nothing about this makes sense. I hope he never gets out, because 70 or not, he will do it again. And that's facts, Candy. And I'm going to tell y'all why none of this makes sense to us. Matter of fact, I'm going to show y'all why things just don't make sense to us. This character right here, and y'all know me, before I go in on anybody, I first give them the benefit of the doubt. But I can't give this character right here the benefit of the doubt, because this character right here is the beginning of the monster. Well, not so much the beginning of the monster, because Shannon was actually the beginning of the monster, because Shannon brought Jarvis around the family. But this character right here, this character green-lighted everything. And this character goes by the name of Miss Annette. She was the legal custodian of Naziah Harris. Now, there's a lot surrounding her. Now, these are some things that we know about Miss Annette. We know that Naziah's mother, Lady, which is Annette's biological daughter, we know that Lady and Naziah's father, we know that they, agreed for Miss Annette to raise Naziah, but we know that the mother, Lady, actually gave up her custodian rights. She gave up and she signed over her rights to Miss Annette. So this is why Kiwana, Janelle, Roxy, Kenya, and maybe other family members, this is why they could only do but so much. Whenever you hear Kenya, whenever you hear Kiwana and them, whenever you hear them speak, they are telling the truth. It was only but so much that they could do. And even to this day, it's still only so much that they can do. When it came to the plea agreement, Kenya ain't had no control over the plea agreement. Roxy didn't have no control over the plea agreement. Kiwana didn't have no control over the plea agreement. Janelle didn't have no control over that plea agreement. You know, and I'm sure that those four wouldn't have accepted the plea agreement. But once again, they didn't have no control over it. Miss Annette had the control over the plea agreement. She was satisfied with the plea agreement. She allowed Jarvis to have 24 hours a day access to Naziah Harris. Remember, Naziah Harris had to go to Jarvis for monthly necessities that women need, the pads, right? We know that Jarvis would go up to the school, sign Naziah out at times as her father. That was the mix-up with the real father, the biological father, being accused of having Naziah with him, because they was mistaken the biological father as Jarvis, because Jarvis was always going up to the school signing Naziah out. Now, this is after the 2020, I believe the 2022 CPS report. And y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. But Miss Annette, she gave Jarvis free access to Naziah at all times, even at that party. Y'all can check out that party video on my backup channel, Shank Rock. And y'all can see that Jarvis comes in the house at, I believe, Porker's birthday party. And she even said to Jarvis, you got to stop doing this. I thought we supposed to be family. You got to stop acting like we ain't family. How do you tell a monster that he got to stop coming in and out? He got to start being part of this family. How do you tell this monster that after he was accused on the CPS report, he was accused of the inappropriate touching of not only Naziah, but your other grandchildren? Right? So Miss Annette is at the head of all of this. She's controlling all of this. What did she say in her impact statement? Remember, her victims impact statement, everybody. She was more concerned with addressing the podcasters. She was more concerned with addressing those that was getting GoFundMe money off of her. That's all she was interested in. She wasn't interested in nothing else. But the reason why they kept that location and the reason why they're keeping that hush-hush is because Miss Annette doesn't want a Shank Rock, who's a content creator. Miss Annette doesn't want other content creators and social media, period. She don't want us to know that because she knows we're going to investigate it. There's still a lot more to this case that we don't know about. A lot more. Now it says case 24-002236-01-FH. A then 7-year-old female victim. Defendant was sentenced to count 1 of second-degree criminal sexual conduct with a sentence agreement of 10 years to 15 years in MDOC to run concurrently with his other cases. Count 2, 3, and 4 were dismissed. Now, let's get back to Miss Annette, but I got to give a shout out to Kiki. Can I get everybody to give Kiki a congratulations? She just brought into this world a new child. Blessings on the new one to the family, Kiki. Can I get everybody to give Kiki a congratulations? She just had a child, I believe a week ago. And you can fill everybody in, the name, the pounds, and all that other good ish, Kiki. But congratulations, Kiki. So let's go down this rabbit hole with Miss Annette, y'all. And I need to bring this to everyone's attention. For the old timers, y'all already know who these are in this picture. And for the old timers, y'all already know this demonstration. However, for the newbies that is new to this case, now in the middle, of course, you see Miss Annette. Now, the kid, the teenager, is her son, Florentino. Now, the dude, the big dude with the black shirt on, he goes by the name of the Evangelist, right? Now, the Evangelist and Miss Annette's son, Florentino, they were in a relationship together. They lived with each other. Now, according to the Evangelist, him and Miss Annette's son, Florentino, they met on a dating app, right? Now, is it me, or doesn't Miss Annette's son, Florentino, doesn't he look to be underage? He don't look like he's 18 years or older. He don't look like he's 17 years old. He looks like he's between the ages of 14 to 16. So we know that the Evangelist lied, but then again, did he lie? Could Florentino have been on this dating app at the age of 14, 15, or 16? Right? However, now he could have lied about his age to the Evangelist. I'll give the Evangelist that. However, my focus right now is really not on the it's not on the Evangelist. My focus is on Miss Annette. The point that I'm making is, how could you How could you hand over your child to this grown man? Now, somebody say, but Shank, maybe the evangelist was in the family, but then maybe once Florentino got of age, then maybe that's when they got into this relationship, and that could be so. However, then that would mean the evangelist lied. But y'all see where I'm going at with this. Even the evangelist said that him and Marquita got into an argument because of a relationship that she was having with an older man, I believe at the church or something. Let's put the nail in the coffin on Miss Annette. We're going to put the nail on the coffin. And even Miss Liberty spoke on what I'm about to say, y'all. Y'all remember a 40-year-old autistic man. Some say he wasn't autistic, Shank. Some say he wasn't 40 years old, Shank. Well, until somebody can bring me proof that he wasn't, I'm going to stick by a 40-year-old autistic guy. We first heard about the 40-year-old autistic guy on Mark D. This 40-year autistic guy that inappropriately touched Naziah way before Jarvis was inappropriately touching her. Don't y'all know that Miss Annette refused to press charges on this 40-year-old autistic guy? And if y'all remember, in the demonstration with me, Maisha, the Petty, and Miss Liberty even spoke on that autistic guy. Mama, she said that Naziah was sending inappropriate pictures to the 40-year-old autistic guy. All of this has been going on under the watch of Miss Annette, who says she run a tight ship. Well, when it comes to running a tight ship, exactly what kind of tight ship are you talking about, Miss Annette? Are you talking about a tight ship as far as when it comes to the kids, as far as because remember, she had chains around the refrigerator. So was you running a tight ship as far as disciplining them, or was you running a tight ship all the way around the board as far as protecting them as well? Even Jarvis getting with Shannon, you knew. Now, even though Shannon gave Jarvis a second chance, that's your daughter. And there's certain things that as a mother, you supposed to step in and say, we ain't entertaining that. Now I can see if Jarvis been to prison for selling some dope. I can see if he had some pistol charges, some theft, some assault, some robberies. But Jarvis was convicted and Jarvis was sent to prison for inappropriately touching a minor. You knew just as well as Shannon, and that's when you should have told Shannon, ain't nowhere in the world you gonna bring him around me and these babies in here. Why, Miss Annette? Because if he done it once and you got a house full of babies and he done it once, you pretty much already know you're opening up the door to this monster to have his way with these babies, and you done that. You opened the door up for him. You allowed them to come through. I'm going to come back. I'm going to get through this plea agreement. It says, case 25 000-241-01-FC-A. Then 8 or 9-year-old female victim, defendant pleaded guilty to count 2 of second-degree criminal sexual conduct with a sentence agreement of 10 years to 15 years in the MDOC to run concurrent with his other cases. Counts 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 were dismissed. Case 25-004478-01-FH-A. Then 13-year-old female victim, defendant pleaded guilty to count 1 of third-degree criminal sexual conduct with a sentence agreement of 10 years to 15 years in the MDOC to run concurrent with his other cases. Count 2 was dismissed. Case 25-00646-1-01-FC-A. Then 8-year-old victim, defendant pleaded guilty to count 3 of second-degree criminal sexual conduct with a sentence agreement of 10 years to 15 years in the MDOC to run concurrent with his other cases. Counts 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6 were dismissed. Let me come to my chat. Jarvis was sleeping with all of them. It was said Annette and Jarvis were in her room with her bedroom door locked. And that's facts. And Jarvis was supposedly had been in there painting. However, the door was locked. We already know what was going on in that room. Let's call a spade a spade. We know what was going on in that room. Make sure y'all follow me on Facebook. She sure did. She is just as much blame. Like I said, ain't no woman in their right mind is going to allow that. Every woman that's in my chat right now and every woman that's watching this on the replay game, y'all would have checked that from the door. Y'all would have told y'all daughter straight up. Now look, now what you do when you ain't in this house, what you do with this monster when you ain't around me, I can't control it. But ain't no way in the world I'm going to let you bring this monster in this house. Ain't no way I'm going to let you bring this monster around with all these babies that's in this house. Exactly. Key says they all sick in the head. Appreciate this super sticker, Cynthia. Appreciate the super sticker. She ran to him at the party like my man, my man. She broke her neck, didn't she, Niecy? She broke her neck to get to Jarvis at that party. And that don't give a, you gotta misspell the cuss words, Andrea. Misspell your cuss words, Andrea. My daughter had no business being in a grown man face, period. That's facts. That's facts. So she didn't turn over all of them. For Florentino, I see you, blessed to be. I mean, when you look at this picture, that's her son. That's her son. And that's the evangelist. And they were in relations. She just gave these monsters. She just let these monsters have their way. Just look. But like I said, according to the evangelist, him and Florentino met on a dating app. But you had to know that Florentino was underage. You had to know. Now I need some receipts to prove that y'all met on this dating app. Because according to this picture right here, you was already knowing Florentino. Nobody can convince me that Florentino was 18 years old or older on this picture. I ain't going. I ain't going unless they produce some receipts. But they were so used to mess like this, it didn't seem like anything was wrong with it. That's facts, Candy. My daughter's baby fathers can't come to my house, period. Just from off the disrespect. I would file for custody of my grandkids if I knew of charges like that, period. That's facts, Big Mama. That's facts. Sad as you know what. And it is, TT. It's sad, y'all. She in the pic smiling like this is normal, shaking my head. Go back to what Miss Parker and her riders and what a lot of other people said. Their norm is not ours. Our norm is not theirs. Make sure y'all follow me on all social media platforms. Yes, Valerie, this is crazy work. I believe he was underage. Look how he was with Vari. Facts. Facts. You can't make this up, y'all. You can't. For real, the pic shows how old the evangelist was older than Florentino. Facts. Now, this is why the information they not coming up off of, because Miss Annette know when it hits social media, and that's what troubles me. She knows exactly what happened to Nazaria, but she's keeping it away from the public. But one thing about social media, you got some private detectives, you got some Navy SEALs on social media. Oh, they gonna go down that rabbit hole and they gonna find out. It's just a matter of time, Miss Annette, before it hits social media. It's gonna come to social media. There's too many of us on social media. I thought he knew Annette first. Strong possibility, mother of four. We don't know, but strong possibility. It had to have happened to them too, for them to be comfortable letting folks touch them kids. It ran in the family, trust me. A generational curse is what it looks like. Facts. The scary and crazy part is they didn't want to break the generational curse. It's sickening. Ain't that something? Ain't that something, TT? They didn't want to break the generational curse. I see you, Big Stacks. I see you, Nikki. She been doing this mess. She been doing this mess. Facts. That's facts. And it's sad, y'all. Shank, put up and you're calling up. You got to come up on the link, Karen. I don't have a phone number, a calling number. I do allow folks that want to speak. I do allow y'all to come up on the panel. If you want to come up on a panel, click that blue StreamYard link. You don't have to show your face. You could turn your camera off. And if you don't know how to turn your camera off, I'll easily put up a display where nobody sees you. Key says she gonna tell on herself. They always do. That's facts. Eventually, y'all know my favorite word. Let it play out. And it's gonna play out. I see you, Grace. I see you, Grace. So Miss Annette don't want the public, she don't want social media to know. Because see, and it's something that we all question, because in these cases, when you take that plea, think about all the cases that we've witnessed. That person that's charged with the red rum, that person has to lead investigators to the body, to the remains. Because as we said, Jarvis could have been bullshitting. And I don't think that, because we got to understand, just like you have a lot of corrupted officials in Detroit, you still have some that are not. Every official in Detroit ain't corrupted. And you got some of them that do stick by the rules. And so I don't think that the judge would have allowed, I don't think that the DA would have allowed Jarvis to play in their face like that. TT, you know what I'm getting ready to do. You all have TT to thank. And I knew that this was going to be a good, calm demonstration. I just knew I wasn't going to have to put the chat in timeout. But TT. Y'all have TT to thank for the chat being put in time out. Nikki says, I really believe she didn't report Naziah when she was first missing because this was something that happened often. I believe she only reported her because she wasn't there to go to school. I believe you too, Nikki. I believe that when Naziah, if she didn't come home, because me, along with a lot of other folks, we believe that Naziah did come home that day after school. We believe that. However, if it did go the way they said it went, she knew or she suspected that Naziah was with Jarvis, and she knew and she suspected that she gonna come home. She gonna come home. I keep telling y'all, y'all gotta thank TT. We don't want to see them folks. Y'all gotta thank TT for getting the chat put in timeout. But what did TT do, Shank? TT used my favorite word, funky ass. So if you want to get the chat put in timeout, if you use my word, funky ass, chat gonna get put in timeout. Lady D says, why have no one found out if Shannon and Annette has immunity? And so, if so, Shank Rock, do you think it's for the red rum? Now, this is just my opinion, y'all. Now, I can't say this is a fact, but my opinion is that the reason why Shannon didn't get charged with anything, I believe that Shannon was given immunity. And I believe that that's what really made Jarvis take the plea agreement, because he knew it wasn't no way out. But there are many of y'all that believe that Shannon wasn't given immunity. And I respect y'all opinion. However, I believe that Shannon was given immunity, and that's why she didn't ever get charged. And that's why eventually Jarvis took the plea. Amma says, TT, that hurts my eyes. Once again, y'all got TT to thank. I see you, Unique. OMG, Shank, take it down. Take it down. Well, stop using my favorite word, TT. Karen says, Shank, what about the judge's statement about the HIV test and treatments? I don't have any information on that. It was told to me that it was standard procedures, but I don't know. I don't know. I could get back at y'all later on. I can do some investigating of my own, but I don't know why the HIV came up. I don't. She definitely knew she was with Jarvis. They know where the body is. Annette knows. She's just not going to let the public come to the funeral. Facts. She's keeping everything hush-hush. She knows more than what we is getting. But that's her way of controlling the situation. That's her way of limiting us to finding out. Because y'all know, once we find out, y'all pretty much already know. We're going to do content on it. We're going to speak on it. Yes, Roxy said that. So, but it's in black and white that the location is not being released. The location is not being released to the public. My bad if I miss anyone in the chat. I'm trying to hurry and make breakfast. I really wish someone could interview Detective Shannon. She knows everything. You right, Matisse. You right. Now, I do think that now that the plea agreement is over with, I do believe that some of these characters, some of the people that was involved, I do believe that they're going to start hitting some platforms. And if they don't start hitting platforms, I think they're going to be, saying some things on their own social media. So let's just give it time. Let's give it some time. Let it play out. But didn't the lady that was on my Isha Live that you were on say Shannon didn't have immunity? Yes, Miss Liberty did say that. She did say that. From her understanding, Shannon wasn't given immunity. And she probably wasn't, but I'm still going with it myself. And like I said, y'all, that's just my opinion. So, but Miss Liberty, she did state that Shannon wasn't given immunity. Miss Annette got some kind of insurance policy for sure. Now she can get that payout now that the case is closed. That's facts, y'all. That's facts. That's facts. And she's keeping everything close-knit. She don't want us to find out. So now, will there be a memorial? Like I said, now, Kiwana and Janelle, they might do a memorial. Kenya and Roxy, they might do a memorial. And I do know that Kenya, Roxy, Kiwana, and Janelle, I do know that those 4 members, if they decided to do a memorial, I do know that they would make it available to the public. I do know that for a fact. But once again, they are only limited. Now, they can do their own memorial if they choose to, but I just know that they are limited on the things that they can do. So now we want to know, Miss Annette. Like I said, my issue was always with Miss Annette and Shannon. Everybody else, I really didn't have no issue with them. But now my question to you, Miss Annette, is now that we know that Naziah is no longer alive, when is the memorial? When is the memorial? And I do believe that because it's all about Naziah. And I do believe that the content creators, I do believe that the subscribers, I do believe that if Miss Annette, and you don't have to come to nobody's platform, you could put it out there yourself. You could say that, yes, we are having a memorial for Naziah Harris, but we're asking for everyone to please show us respect. I promise you, everybody, look, as much as we dislike you, Miss Annette, as much as we expose you, if you put that out there, that it was going to be a memorial, but you're just asking for everybody to give y'all respect, I promise y'all, we all would respect that. We all would be like, y'all know what? Regardless of how we feel about Miss Annette, it's not about Miss Annette, it's about Naziah. I promise you, nobody would disrespect you. Nobody wouldn't disrespect. And the reason why nobody would disrespect you, Miss Annette, is because it's bigger than you. We wouldn't disrespect you on the strength of Naziah. Everybody would be like, y'all know what? In respect of Naziah, we gotta show them respect. She don't want the public showing up at the memorial. She's only having that memorial for the family, for the immediate family. We gotta respect that. In my opinion, and only Kiwana, Janelle, Kenya, and Roxy can speak for themselves. But in my opinion, I believe that Janelle, Kiwana, Kenya, and Roxy, I believe that they would give Miss Annette that respect. I think that them 4 would be like, you know what? Out of respect for Naziah, we ain't gonna trip. Because see, where we're at now in this case, the only ones that's on trial, well, the only ones that's under the microscope is Miss Annette, Shannon, and Marquita. That's all. Nobody else ain't under the microscope. Everybody is talking about this lady right here. Everybody is talking about her performance when she read the victim impact statement. You're under the microscope, Annette. Nobody else. You watch me. You watch all the other content creators. All we're asking for is to give Naziah a proper burial. All we're asking for is to send Naziah away and let her soul rest. Give her a memorial. That's all we're asking. Other members of the family will have something for her, not Annette. I see you, Mel. They found her, yes or no? Yes, they found her, Kamara. Too selfish and black-hearted for her to honor Naziah. They've been found her. They've been found Naziah. But they're not going to release it to the public. Annette knows. She don't respect herself, so why would we? Her family don't even respect her, Shank. Miss Annette didn't care about Naziah at all. She only wanted the money. She can't even say Naziah's name. I see you, Brinley. Everyone involved in this case are victims, from family members to the witnesses that testified during the preliminary hearing. That's facts. That's facts. That's facts. You ain't never lied. And the reason why I'm saying this, and I know it's probably going on deaf ears, whatever y'all, however y'all call it. I know she could care less, but I got to at least get it off my chest. I got to at least deliver the message. Now, what she do, that's on her. But I'm just here to tell her how to make things right. Because this performance that you done, that just made it even worse. And maybe you don't got nobody around you that will keep it real with you. Maybe you need somebody to give you this message that I'm giving you. And that's why I'm giving you this message. Just make things right. We can't turn back the hands of time. We can't change what happened, but we can make things right. When I make mistakes or when I do stuff, I'll make things right. Hold up, I gotta make things right. Even if I didn't do nothing wrong. Regardless of what, if you got the power to make things right, make things right. Give Naziah Harris a memorial. Give her a memorial and just let everybody know this memorial is only for the immediate family. We don't want the public there. We would respect that. I know I would. I would respect it. And I would promote it. And I would let everybody know. Don't take y'all funky asses to that memorial. Because Miss Annette said that she didn't want the memorial open to the public. So don't take y'all funky asses to that memorial. Don't rain on Naziah Harris's day. But the people are so cold on you, and the people feel the way that they feel about you, Miss Annette, is because you did not give a damn about Naziah. You let this happen to Naziah under your watch. But as I said, we can't turn back the hands of time. What is done is done. But make things right. I've been saying that correctly. Make things right. Her and that twin impact statement was trash. She mad because she not getting no more money, and the twin mad because she didn't have that monster's babies. All them funky ass 304s had a crush on him. Once again, y'all, I'm putting the chat on punishment, and you all have Nikki to thank. So make sure y'all thank Nikki for getting the chat put on punishment. But since Jarvis been charged, he can speak on it if he wants, because you can't be charged twice for the red rum. And that's so true, Candy. Now, maybe Jarvis will have a change of heart. Maybe God will touch him. Who knows? Maybe Jarvis will speak from prison. This has happened plenty of times. Did he just tell where she's at, or did they recover her? Exactly. Because she was involved in the whole situation. This whole situation is just sad. I'm not taking my stinky ass to the memorial, Shank, but I will respect her. Right, Candy? And that's all I'm saying, everybody. You know, we will respect that. We will respect that. Everybody will respect it. Damn shame, Nikki. Right. I see you, kid. I see you. Damn. I see you, Shonda. Who face in the middle circle? You don't believe she will be found. Once again, thank Nikki for getting the chat put on punishment. Sean B, come up for a minute, Sean B, and just put your email in the back chat for me, Sean B, so I can email you. Or if not, if you can't come up, let me know, and I'll just drop my email in the chat, and then you could just email me, so then I could email you, Sean B. Click on that link, Sean B. You ain't got to talk. I just want you to put your email in the private chat. Who faced in the middle circle? You don't believe she will be found. Kenya says she talked to the detective, and there's so many words that you think they're going to bring charges against them to forgive Jarvis controlling them babies. You know how to put... Okay, I see you, Sean B. Okay, all right. I'm going to drop you back down, Sean B.
All right. Thank you, Shane.
Thank you. All right. Let me take a quick break, y'all, so I could... Matter of fact, I don't got to take a break. Let me write it down right here. Bear with me, y'all. I'm coming. All right, I got it. All right, appreciate you, Sean. Appreciate you. I see you imperfectly. Jarvis didn't have to tell the family. They knew because they were there during Nazaya's unaliving. And that could be true, Pink, everything. They could have been there. I'm not going to dispute that. That was my first thought when all this happened. Yeah, y'all. Yeah. So for all my prayer warriors, and even those that aren't prayer warriors, let's still throw up some prayers. You know, let's pray that Annette has a change of heart. I see you, Smurf. Let's pray that Jarvis has a change of heart. Where I'm at now, I would like to see a memorial. I would like to see a memorial. And like I said, I'm sure that, you know, Kiwana, Janelle, Kenya, Roxy, I'm sure that, you know, they're going to probably, you know, do what they can to put together a memorial. I'm hoping, but I want Annette. I want Miss Annette to do a memorial. I do. I see you, Shay C, Tina. Everyone, I'll say it again. I said it yesterday. I said it. Jarvis should not have been allowed to go in that house or around that house point blank. He shouldn't have. He shouldn't have. Miss Annette should have cut it short. Like, she should have cut it short. I see you, Shay. They don't want to tell the public. Makes me think they won't look for her body, and they know the public. The detective need to use a iris, or I can't pronounce all of that, to look in the water for her body. I see you, Miss Dot. Annette will not spend that insurance policy money on a memorial. She's too money hungry. I would like for Naziah's soul to be at peace. Yes, yes. And see, once again, you know, she knows that, you know, she's not going to have that information released to the public. She knows. And them heifers are just blaming him like he acted alone. I have a serious question. It doesn't reflect how I feel, but I would like to know the input. All right, Keish, if you want to come up on the panel, you could come up on the panel, or even you could type it in the chat. I'm not going to hold y'all that much longer. Ms. Parker will be going live at 2. Is Trudy in the chat? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'll wait on your question, Keish. But it's sad, y'all. It's sad. Let me see what this is. Hold up, y'all. Somebody sent me a cash app. I see you, leisure lady. I'm glad you made it too, Kiki. Shannon was offering Naziah to Jarvis, and Shannon answers to Annette. All right, let me take this. Keish says, if Jarvis comes out and says he was touched as a kid and needed help but was afraid and deeply apologized, would that change some opinions about him? Well, and let me just backtrack, okay? So this is the alleged woman that inappropriately touched Jarvis, right? Now, Jarvis was inappropriately touched when he was a child. However, it still didn't give him the right to do what he do, because he knew right from wrong. Now, I'm going to answer your question from my perspective, Keish, and everybody else can answer Keish's question on your own. But would it change how I feel about Jarvis if he apologized? For me, I would be like, that's a start. That's a start. And I know some people are going to say, but Shank, the only reason why he apologizing is because he wants people to feel sorry for him. You know, I'm a believer in God, right? I do believe in God. And I do believe that, now I'm not going to go the direction that Shannon took, but I would have a little more respect for him. But it really wouldn't change my mind too much, Keish. You know, but I would say, well, at least he's making an attempt. At least he's making an attempt. That's how I would. Let me grab some comments. I see you, Shari. Heck no, not going to change nothing. I pray charges against her come and block her receiving insurance funds. How did his sister not know that? Shaking my head, Nikki girl. But literally, Tootie been literally exposing them day one. They all should be held accountable. They all knew about his history and still brought him around the children. Right, Erica? It brought questions to me. Miss Annette is a ringleader. She looks like his flock. He wasn't embarrassed because he told Shannon, and I'm pretty sure the rest of them knew. You welcome, Keish. If y'all would like to send a cash donation, the cash app is $ERICMCINT. Did they ask anybody but Shannon, did they know he was a serial predator in SA? That's a good question, Shay. That's a good question. To my knowledge, they didn't ask anybody else. To my knowledge. Appreciate that cash donation, 80s, baby. Appreciate that cash donation, 80s, baby. Do we know he was molested as a child because his sister didn't know or mention that? And that's what troubled me. I was like, the sister said that she didn't know, but it is reported from, I believe, the half brother or brother. I don't know which one, but they did state that he was inappropriately touched. I would have to go back through my demonstrations, but Jarvis was inappropriately touched when he was 13. Shank, it kind of seems like Jarvis was trying to hang out with his mom. I believe he was touched by others too at even earlier age because it was his mother's friend. Correct. I see you, Bronze. I see you, Bronze. That was weird. That would have been the first thing. 1:30 here. What time is it there? It's 1:30 here as well. I know off topic, curious. It's 1:30 here. Why do people go at his sister? She's the realest one in this whole thing. Nobody's going at his sister, Master Khalid. We pretty much wrap that up, but nobody don't go after his sister. The only thing that people like myself, and I've always took charge, the only thing that for me, I always felt like when the sister seen Isaiah, she could have done more investigation. That's it. But don't nobody go for the sister over here. Don't nobody. We all give his sister respect. Jarvis was in the streets with his mom because I was exposing them myself. I see you, Karen B. Anyone I may have missed. Seeing him with a little girl, I don't care who it was, would have made to not just ask, but let him know that being around little girls is a no-no and don't let me see it again. Facts. That's facts. Master, I got a lot jumping off right now over here, y'all. Master Khalid says, I feel that. Yeah, but I appreciate you pulling up. But especially now that his sister gave an impact statement, you know, pretty much everybody. I haven't seen nobody talking ish about his sister since she done that impact statement. Everybody has given his sister flowers. See and say, see something, say something. That's facts. I just found it odd that his sister wouldn't know that because she said she don't understand how he turned into who he is. And that's true, Erica. Now, I am going to be, that's another thing on my bucket list that I'm going to be, you know, getting to the bottom of. Was Jarvis Butts inappropriately touched when he was a child? So I'm waiting on some receipts to come back. As soon as I get those receipts, y'all know I'm going to bring it to you all. Get up off those jelly donuts and go find this baby, Detroit. Y'all let Jarvis out one time. Now he's in there to stay. Get up off of those donuts and go find this baby. It shows fault. But would that have changed the events of that night? Good point, Leisure. That's a good point. Facts. I see you, Salt. Appreciate you for pulling up. Poor children, innocent, full of life. She said she was, which just hurt my heart. And let me just say this before we get out of here, y'all. We gotta do better. We are the nosy neighbors that we all grew up on. We have to get active in our communities. If you see something, say something. You mean to tell me, Shank, you want me to snitch? Yes. Yes. I want you to snitch. Because telling on somebody that is doing something wrong to a child, that's not snitching. That's just being a concerned individual. That's just putting your foot down. We got to be careful with these narratives, man. We've adopted the no snitching code into regular civilian life. Now, when you in the streets, when you committing criminal acts, no, you're not supposed to snitch. But if you are a civilian, even if you ain't a civilian, even if you are a criminal, and if you see, I tell you what, for all those that see something, see some shit, and say, man, I ain't no snitch. See, I gotta be careful. I gotta be careful with my words. Y'all know what I'm saying. If you ain't going to snitch on these monsters that's in these communities, then do something about it yourself. How about that? How about that? We gotta take our communities back. We gotta stand up and do the right thing by our babies. As men, we gotta do better. As men, we gotta stand up and take back our communities. As men, we got to protect these babies that's in our communities. We can't turn a blind eye. There should be no Jarvis butts in nobody's community. No matter what city you're in, no matter what state you're in, there should not be a Jarvis butts in any of our communities. If you're not going to snitch on him or her, then do something about it. How about that? Because, you know, folks got an excuse for everything. Why they don't step forward and make a change? Why they don't step forward and do something? You know, I'll say it again. In this demonstration, we're raising awareness for Naziah Harris. The next demonstration that I do might be raising awareness for your child. Might be raising awareness for your loved one. As men, we gotta do better. As men, aren't y'all tired? As a man, as a 40-year-old man, as a 50-year-old man, as a 60-year-old man, you ain't tired? You ain't tired of seeing the community the way it is? I know I'm tired. I've been tired. As men, let's make a change. As men, let's make our families be proud of us. As men, let's stand up and show the world a better image for us. The world looks at the black man the way that the world looks at the black man because the black man won't give the world another image to look at. That's why we are looked upon the way we're looked upon. We don't give them nothing else. And there are a lot of positive men. There are a lot of righteous men. But we're not promoting them. I saw men. I was raised around men that when they see me going left, regardless of the circumstances, they'd let me know. Men used to come up on the block where we was doing our dirt at. Men would come up. Men would pull up on us and get out the car and talk to us and tell us. Men would come to us. So I can only give back what was given to me. As a man, I can only give y'all what was given to me by men. And I thank God for the men. Because even when I was out there, I always knew what the men were saying. I always knew it was true. They were more on to, like I tell y'all, do your thing. They was always saying, Shank, we ain't telling y'all not to do y'all thing. But they was more on guiding us on how to do things. And they were more on showing us an alternative. Like instead of selling dope, you know, you could go get a job. And y'all know at the time we wasn't listening. But then everything started registering to me. When I did started to grow, I started to say, damn, so-and-so did say this. So-and-so did say that. So it just made it a little easier. And I know for a fact, and this is why I keep stressing, where are the men? Where were the men at? You don't gotta be hood. You don't gotta be a street dude to stand up for your community. You don't gotta be a square. You don't gotta be a goofy. You don't gotta be lame to stand up for your community. It ain't gonna make you look weak. It ain't gonna make you look like a sucker as a man to stand up for your community. Yeah, Shank, I know all that, but man, you know, them hoes, you know, man, them hoes, they don't want that type of guy. Well, guess what? Then that type of guy don't need them hoes. As a woman and as a man, and then I'm getting ready to leave y'all. But as a woman, if you want to find out whether or not the man that you got is a good man, see what that man entertains. See what kind of work that man does outside of work. Is he active in the community? As a woman, that's one thing that you should know. Is he active in the community? But see, today, in today's time, those funky ass hoes, they make those men seem like they goofy. As a man, if you doing community activist work and your woman is not right there with you, you don't need that woman. It go hand in hand. That's how you could tell. So always remember that as a woman, raise the bar on your man. Let your man know. Won't you get active in the community? And if that don't register to your man for him to get active in the community, that tells you a lot about that man. Where we're at in today's time, every black man should be active in their community. Every black man should be active in their community. I don't know what else. I don't know what more to tell y'all. Every black man should be active in his community. Every black man should be interested in making a change in his community. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. Salute. Miss Parker is getting ready to go live. So I'll see y'all over there with Miss Parker. Can I get a moderator to drop Miss Parker's link? Salute everybody. The Shank Rock is the wave of the future. The diagrams that I have up. Where did this go wrong at?
Remember, we didn't know this happened to her.
Okay. But that's in the trial. There's nobody on a jury that's going to watch these tapes. He done did 7 to 8 different interviews and a book where he done bragged, talked about this stuff in details.
Around 3 o'clock that morning, I got random text messages, and it was just pictures of her and the other little girl. I thought it was strange.
Now, some of y'all might say, who is Shank Rock? Shank Rock is black media. Well, what is black media? Black media is all about allowing black people to be themselves first.
It's not about race. It's not about religion. It's not about politics. It's about doing what's right. It's about holding those that needs to be held accountable to be held accountable.